SK Gaming waiting to win their very first international tournament. Wouldn't be the first one for Joker. Now let's see if he can also lead this team to victory. 70% are actually voting for Zeta Division here. Only 30 agree with us too.
Yeah, I'm kind of, it's nice to see at least the poll, which is looking less one-sided than some from yesterday, but even that is still, I feel, a little bit slanted. Kind of wild as well to think back to the World Finals last year, both of these two teams losing to Humble and wanting to make a name for themselves here today.
We're starting into the very first draft of today. SK versus Zeta. Shade is going to be banned out from the side of SK Gaming, as well as Gus and Hank. No surprises there, as you don't want to hand that Shade to Sitetampo one more time. Let's see if later on we do see that 100% win rate gets slanted a little bit. Buster's going to be the first pick here. Something we've seen from SK Gaming yesterday, and it worked well for them, Kenny.
Finks on the rise as well, so I'm keeping an eye out for him. Keep note too, especially with this map pool, we've got Layer Cake right now. If we get there later, Triple Dribble, this is where Shade can pop up. Both of these teams really like that brawler. They used him a ton this week. Buster is a first pick, a little interesting. I don't think we see it all the time, but he is one of those free brawlers in ranked that you all should be looking out for. A phenomenal brawler, so lucky that you all can get your hands on him, no matter what player you are.
I'm kind of surprised. I was going to say Janet's dropped off, but it was the first pick for Zeta more often than not. But I was surprised we didn't see her as much as as I expected to see yesterday, to be completely honest. Very much a first pick brawler on this map, often banned out. So great to see Janet coming in for Zeta Division now as well. Definitely a good time to consider tanks, as the Buster certainly is going to be on their mind. It's a good first pick from SK Gaming. So HP wouldn't be the worst of things. Ollie would be available as well. Wouldn't be a bad shout. The Hypnosis, of course, would help out tremendously in trying to herd your opposition around. Gus as well, pretty safe bet for them. Gene going to come in as that kind of mid-controller, similar to Gus in that respect. Of course, the vision gear going to be pretty handy. And speaking of hands, the magic hand, of course, to be able to pull in and eradicate your opposition very swiftly.
Two good things just happened for Zeta Division. One, they got Gene, who I think is a staple in this map, especially the mode right now. It's just so frustrating for the vision, for poke damage, the magic hand, some big pop-off plays, but also a Gene Buster combo would have been nasty. It's just a very passive synergy. They don't have to get on the offensive unless they want to. Buster can get that super, obviously, just by standing next to Gene. Gene can heal. Such a good synergy. Gray going to be the choice here. Now, Gray plus tank. Also a frequent strategy, no longer just a cheesy hot zone strategy on ladder. These pro players have picked up on it a ton, especially with hypercharges getting the mix. Gray has risen as well.
Yeah, quite dangerous now. Wouldn't mind necessarily a throw here from SK to have some control, but I'm definitely scared now with that Buster Gray combo, as I'm sure Zeta will be very cautious to not find themselves on those back lines. If they get something like that for control on top of this aggression and HP, then I feel like it could be something which Zeta might struggle against the wall with when it comes down to it. Yeah, Juju, love it, absolutely love it. Of course, Gree as well going to be helpful into a potential tank if Zeta want to go down that line as a third and final pick. But this is a really nice draft here from SK Gaming for me.
Well-rounded. I mean, both of these teams have certainly been stronger in the draft category this year. The fans certainly agreeing there. Juju, a frequent one. I mean, sometimes you'll see some cheeky little Barley gameplay. I've seen some really wild ones in the thrower category, but I don't know if you do that into a Buster plus a Gray, especially with something like a Walking Cane that can just nab you. It sounds like Stu. Stu's been a frequent one for Zeta Division in particular. They like this little aggro. It's a brawler that's certainly fallen down the tier list a little bit, our professional gameplay. But if you're good, especially a Sizuku, for example, phenomenal Stu player. I don't mind this.
Yeah, it's a very, very Zeta pick, and a brawler which they use in scrims quite a lot, just shy of a 60% win rate as well, so they can definitely rely on it to bring in the goods. But I agree, it's not necessarily the big heavy hitter that I want to see in a map and mode like Bounty and Layer Cake, but in their hands, it makes me feel quite confident that they can bring something with it. And the speed zone as well as a gadget, really, really great for just allowing everyone to get really quickly into the map, and potentially wall break as well is an option for Zeta to explore if they want to go with that too. And just give themselves some options. Let's see how SK start. This Walking Cane, not great there from Jugger as getting the thumbs just warmed up, and Sitetampo now moving forward and aggressing. On the left-hand side, Yoshi will need to try to connect as many of these shots as early as possible to be able to get the Gree down and just to have that in their back pocket.
Ope just able to bolster that HP, walk forward, grab a blue star without much of a threat of dying. Now a little scouting report being done by Janet. You're going to see that gadget a lot. And of course, Levi can dish out some nice heat there. There's the Walking Cane. Another miss there. They really need to land one of those.
Yeah, getting some break of the bush would go a long way here for SK and just take away some of that unpredictability, really, as Zeta are really getting themselves stuck in at home. Taking it slow, for sure. Blue star still with SK Gaming, as you'd like to have in this kind of play style, which we've seen time and time again from a team like SK. And for me, they need the utility, though, ready for this inevitable push coming in from Zeta. If Zeta are able to deprive as much as they can, then they're not going to have anything to defend. Finally, a gree there from Yoshi, but he is out of position, going back there, utilizing the water, trying to connect those shots to get that slow effect.
SK clearly buying their time. You're going to see this a lot in professional Brawl Stars. Grab blue star, play defense, and especially with such a passive composition where Buster can just charge his super up in a moment's notice. Yoshi can play the distance. Now they're on the offensive, though. Grabs one, dishes a second. Not enough for a kill, though. Sizuku under heavy fire. Will have to back away for now.
Yeah, no hypercharge yet for Sizuku. Nice shots from the OP. Takes to the skies now as well. Sitetampo goes in. A nice TP away from Joker, who finds then Sitetampo as well. That's 3 stars lead now. Follow up as well to Sizuku. 5 stars for SK Gaming. And nothing to stay for it for Zeta, but a magic hand coming in for Levi.
They're going to have to make a big time play here early on, and it's only game number 1. Sitetampo moving alongside his teammates. A massive pull goes through. Joker lands the mark. Trade 7-2. Plenty of time for Yoshi to get around this left-hand side. Joker bottom right corner, and SK Gaming come through in game number 1.
A very comfortable start. The confidence exuding there from SK. And for Zeta, I feel like they probably will switch up their gameplay this time around and go a bit more on the aggressive early on. Janet, of course, really elevated the picks on this very much primarily because of a hypercharge addition, which we didn't really kind of see. Nice pull to start things off. Now those walking canes from Joker are starting to land the mark. That's 2 stars already, just to 1 of Zeta as the blue star gets handed over swiftly. Now taps into Sizuku. Sitetampo coming into this left-hand side. Again, getting themselves ready in this mid, healing back up accordingly, and then ready for that push.
Zeta were much more aggressive, but in a negative connotation. Now they've given up a 1 star, a death, and they've got the blue still with SK Gaming, so it didn't work out. Yoshi, once again, just buying time. Sizuku now a little more aggressive, just dropping that base, trying to make sure he can get visibility on the enemies. Even if it goes down immediately, they at least have an idea where SK are lying.
Yeah, Yoshi's already done a good job there of establishing the Grigri as well. The hypercharge is there for OPE, who's just so dangerous on this pick now with the TP in the dimensional doors, and there, Livo will fall. Sitetampo coming in, but immediately forced out there as the montage, blocking every shot, and the heals as well, of course, from that great pick. Really working wondrously well for SK Gaming. Sizuku still that bottom right-hand side, though. The Grigri goes out. Meanwhile, Sitetampo low in the mid as well, and the pull is there! And now some stars handed over a 4-3 scoreline.
Close once again. Gap down to 1 star, and SK Gaming right back on defense. Ooh, a nice little walking cane. Not enough to stretch the distance, though. Now the pressure being applied. Sitetampo, right hand in, skating up and down. We haven't seen him get a ton of supers, and Stu obviously relying on that. He's just trying to flank, get really aggressive. Okay with the pull, though. Takedown goes through, and SK Gaming will extend.
There's still time, though. 20 seconds on the clock for Zeta, and their third now joining the mix of Sitetampo. It's time for one final push, but SK Gaming are absolutely ready for it now. TP in from OPE as well as the hypercharge there. The montage blocking every shot, but he's low. 4 stars above his head, and will be plenty for Zeta to be able to reap the rewards of. But everyone's low now, going in. Sizuku falls. It's 8 stars to the SK Gaming, and they will take this first set.
EMEA get on the board first. Now it's relatively uncontested as well. I don't know if that was a draft thing, a getting settled in thing. We knew this SK squad were legitimate, but a lot of believers at home in this Zeta Division squad. Been phenomenal in the region. Didn't have any qualms really with the draft. I just feel like SK played it better for the most part. I like that they had a thrower. Obviously, once Gray gets established, they can kind of use that teleport. You saw how many times he was in and out with the healing. Also allows Buster to just pop up, drop a little shield, and now they can move up or down as they please.
In this event, I'll be honest though, in terms of the stats, I've never seen so many donuts for Zeta. It's kind of getting a little bit alarming, but I think for me, the draft was not a bad draft by Zeta, but it just didn't really have enough muscle behind it.
Sure.
Didn't really have any ability to really kind of force their way forwards and push their agenda. It was basically just playing into SK, and that's exactly how not to force a game in with SK. You want to be able to take control, you want to be aggressive, and you want to push them out of their comfort zone. SK like to play defensive, they like to take their time and allow you to make the mistake. And that's kind of what we saw.
It's easy to pick 3 good brawlers. No problem with any of these. I mean, Stu may be a little on the low right now in terms of where he's been in the past, but where's the quick burst of damage?
Yeah.
Buster can land a pull, tap, 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 you're dead. TP from Gray, surprise attack. I just feel like there were more options. And Juju, obviously that constant pressure in the grass, unless you get a big time wall break with a gene pull, what were they really supposed to do?
Well, I think we both agree that draft speaking for Zeta needs to be a little bit better in the next map for sure. Some more tanks and some more defensive capabilities as Double Switch will be up next. Gem grab, that is where Zeta needs to tie up this scoreline because, again, at this stage of the competition, you really cannot afford to find yourself 2 sets down. And now they've had a chance to get warmed up, we've really got no excuse. But for SK Gaming, this is exactly the start they want to have. And no doubt Pedro is saying those very same words to the squad as we speak. Taking themselves slow and pacing themselves, I think, is where things are quite key here. But for Devil Switch, of course, very tank-friendly. But now with Amber's introduction, there is that consideration. Definitely a pick that Zeta would like to get their hands on. I'm looking here at Finks as well, certainly so. Kind of want to see that in the bans. Kenji is a must-ban. Lumi, of course, as we know already. We're not going to be seeing very much of for that same reason. But, you know, Buster. I think that for me, Zeta have got to shut that down because that is an OPE pick for SK.
Looking out for Lily here as well. Tara at the top of leaderboards right now in the professional scene. I just think the ability for Lily to get sneaky, have a hypercharge, it's just so hard to dodge. There's some standard bans on that top right-hand side, which means SK Gaming are going to have that first pick. So this is where they get more selective. Shockingly, Jackie has shown up quite a bit in SK Gaming scrims, and I think in particular that's mostly due to that Buster you alluded to.
Yeah, they haven't banned it out on the side of Zeta, so I feel like that is the first pick-worthy brawler here for SK Gaming, for OPE, especially in his hands. Every time I see it, I mean, his win rate with that particular brawler has probably got to be one of the highest in the world. They're going to be going with Chester. Actually, I don't mind it. Going with the tank counter option, I think can make a lot of sense here on a map like Double Swoosh, as they're expecting potential tanks here from Zeta, who also would allude to that Buster pick as well, themselves Draco as well, I feel. There's definitely got a spot here as a brawler that I saw a lot more of yesterday than I was expecting to see.
Other tanks on the board, so we mentioned Buster. Hank's still readily available. Amber, somebody that's obviously climbed back up, especially with the hypercharge and that open lane for visibility, for constant damage. Really nice. Several options, though. I mean, Pam's shown up in the mix in the pro meta. Didn't see her much yesterday, so maybe just a practice thing they tried out and don't go with. But, of course, our #1 most picked brawler, always a safe bet.
Since that additional movement speed, it just feels like every single region has paid note to it and getting the rewards. You know, prior to that buff, there wasn't really many people that were even experimenting with things. And it just meant, yeah, this is what I'm saying. Now I think that Zeta might be cooking. And SK are clearly feeling okay with that just a pick. They kind of would have felt themselves that this might be likely to happen. So the fact that they value Chester more means that they're willing to go into that counter and play a bit more passive, a bit more defensively in that regard as well. But I know what you were saying about the Pam pick as well. It's still one of those kind of odd brawlers to see come through, but one that I'm not seeing many teams experiment with. But SK do, very much so. It's kind of like their second highest pick in terms of those scrim rates. So I want to see whether that is a potential mid there to come through here. It's an odd one. It's not necessarily tried and tested Gene. Yeah, I like that. I prefer that myself. It's a bit safer. And of course, the vision gear going to be quite crucial with that particular brawler.
Gene's a more frequent one nowadays just because that visibility, it feels like teams are just relying on the safety net that he has on the table. And Chester can obviously be able to do a great job on the lane, whatever it ends up being. If they want to get something beefy like a Buster, obviously if his shield, different story, but you at least can dish out a quick amount of damage. Daryl is one I did not expect though. Obviously the mobility, this is going to be their, not gym carrier by any means, but this is how they're going to take away gyms and get the heck out of dodge.
Yeah, this is SK Gaming kind of making up for the fact that they did not manage to land the Buster pick, and it's definitely a brawler which is never really on my mind, but it's one that I think many don't anticipate seeing, and it can make some plays. It really, really can. And again, like I said, OP is fantastic with tanks. Like, it's just a bit secondary, though, to that Chester, in my opinion. There's the Lily, yeah. And I'm really quite shocked that we haven't seen as much of Lily yesterday as I was expecting to see. Because in scrims, she's really, really high up there in terms of the plays and the win rate. So on this particular map, I can see it working out fantastically well. Going into the realm, getting behind your opposition and flanking around the map, communicating back to your team, and then timing the strike. That top left-hand side really is going to have to be checked constantly now by Zeta. And that's going to be taking them away from the objective. I think that now Zeta have got a much bigger problem on their hands.
#1 seed out of EMEA. First one to take a set on the board. But Sitetampo, I have a feeling won't be going too far away. Here we go, set 2, folks. Gonna be a start in the middle, each gym spawning per side, and already it's Sizuku getting sneaky. Gonna approach that grass, and he went straight up the middle. I mean, playing some mind games here, that's something you have to constantly have in your mind, though, all the time when Lily's on the field.
And it's gonna keep OPE back as well, because he needs to stay in that bush and be ready for his team to ensure that strike. Now going in on the right-hand side, and there's a perfectly timed time warp there as well from Sizuku. They managed to secure OPE in that regard. But now look at the top left-hand side. Yoshi going in so deep there, breaking the bush as well. Is going to force all of Zeta to that right-hand side now. Nowhere to hide.
Ooh, and they remove him immediately. Oh, the pull goes through though. Opay trying to get there as well. Nice little dive in. Enough to get some good aggression, but still a 4-star lead. SK Gaming, complete control of the map as well. Buster reflecting. He's a momentum shifter. Tries to move the team up a little bit when they're facing a deficit. It's the only way they're going to be able to march forward.
Yeah, Zeta are very clustered, but that is going to only aid into the Buster. That time warp is going to ensure that SK Gaming are going to have to wait their timer out here, but they've got many gems in their pocket now. It's a nice pull there from Joker, and Levi very, very low here, but able to survive on. And now the gems are dropped. Sizuku to be able to pop into the realm if he wishes, but he might not have the gadgets. He's buying his time for as long as he can, but Joker comes back in off the spawn and puts those gems back in SK's pocket.
Even though they don't escape with the gems, they bought time. You pointed it out. Now they had the mid a little bit longer, were able to recover, and now it's a 3-gem deficit and a little bit more control. The red roster, top right-hand side, SK Gaming playing from the left. The 9th gem being acquired. Now SK Gaming just one away from a countdown. Zeta Division are going to have to start making moves.
Hypercharge there for Yoshi, and OP wants to go in prematurely as well, get some good taps for his time. But look at Sizuku as well, lurking in the realm, coming in, and goes in, low HP, Joker picks it up, and the gems still lie with SK. Sitetampo too low to be able to contest it. They might just get some more with Joker here, not a bad time to do so. Protected there by OPE, and with the clock ticking down, Zeta are so late for this push, they're not going to make it in time.
Not a strong showing so far. Opay. A little extra aggression, because why not? Gonna pat the stats. SK Gaming taking another game on the board. This is shocking, Ark. We really haven't seen much life out of Zeta Division. Sure, a few pop-off Lily plays there, but set number 1 felt pretty good about the blue side, and now as set number 2 approaches, things are looking a little bleak for East Asia right now.
We didn't cast yesterday together, Kenny, and I don't know whether you were aware, but 2 of my matches were sweeps, and 1 was a 3-1, so it might be a curse.
We bounce back here, brother. We bounce back today.
We need to see more from Zeta, that's for sure. They're just playing a little bit less aggressive than what we're used to seeing from them, and SK Gaming are really capitalizing. Oh, as I'm saying that, a beautiful pickup, double pull there from Levi, and now OP is so low, having to heal up on that right-hand side, but a shaky start there from SK.
Much more even footing. Duel on the top right-hand side, 2 tanks going at it. Opay, double barrel, now charging up that health point. Sizuku does have a hypercharge super, gonna elect to use it right now. Opay falls. Levi still holding strong in the mid. Sitetampo, low HP, gonna have to recover. A perfect shield being placed for him, though.
Look at that from OPE, straight into the action yet again. An aggression onto Sitetampo, who's then going to fall. Hypercharge from him as well onto Levi. I'm not sure how he's going to fare. Low HP now, as in the meanwhile, Joker and Yoshi take care of business. Some gems sitting in the mid there as well. Oh, a nice connection there from Yoshi as well. A nice bomb onto the Sitetampo, who's going to have to be healing up. 3 gems now sitting, but they can't go in. Levi surely has got gadget to hand, and that pull is devastating.
Oh, and the long-range takedown! Beautifully executed by Joker. And now a middle contestant as well. Sizuku all alone. Opay dashing away on the right-hand in. Shot clock available for Zeta Division. They have to act fast. Sitetampo on the left-hand in. Levi popping a hypercharge. Here they come. Flash flying shots on the left-hand in. A dive forward. Lily secures one. Joker in trouble. Opay has to roll away. Unsuccessful. Zeta with a heist.
Daylight robbery, a montage from Levi, just the nick of time as well. Yoshi can't contest that whatsoever. And now finally the lights are on for Zeta, but they've got to ensure this countdown. SK Gaming now pushing forwards, and Yoshi has got a super ball. What is it going to be? What is in the back pocket? It's going to be a slow as well, and OP has now got hypercharge going in. He should be able to connect with this. Will the other reset? They drop the gems, and they're all scattered. But Zeta still protect them in the back pockets. There's still time, SK can recollect, but that was close.
Here we go again. Levi with a takedown on the left-hand side. 6 seconds on the clock, and Opay finally has a super. Here he goes, barreling forward, makes the mark. It's enough to not get a takedown, though. Just within striking distance, and Zeta Division have life.
Call me biased, but I'm glad for Zeta there because they needed something of a little bit of a lift.
We gotta get you that 3-2, brother. One game at a time, brother.
Start the day with a 5th and final set. Definitely much, much better from Zeta, but far from out of the woods. This set very much still all up for grabs, but that is the best we've seen from them so far today.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm sure Brawl Nation is right there with you. SK Gaming and Zeta Division. It's set number 2, all tied up. Yoshi owning this left-hand lane as Sizuku tries to encroach on enemy territory. Joker, backlines. Opay now has a supercharge up. He can get sneaky too. Gonna be rolling right on down. Ooh, a little missed mark there. Will make the connection. It's a great counter into Buster, and he does get the elimination, but it was a little unclean.
Yeah, unusual to see OP making mistakes, but just a couple of pixels off in that regard. But the gems pretty much even at this present moment in time. OP is actually going to slide into one. Definitely not the ideal gem carrier to have, but now those gems dropped. There's 4 into the pocket of Levi. Joker has the magic hand, and that's definitely got to be a concern, but realistically, who are we going to necessarily want to pull in this situation?
No easy ones. Now Sizuku approaching the enemy side. Gets right in the face of Yoshi. Does have a hypercharged super, just suiciding. Oh, the pull goes through. Instant reaction there at a Joker, and they'll pick up a nice frag.
Has taken care of some of the bush, though, on their spawn side. Might not be great necessarily for them, but definitely worth doing. Zeta all hunkered down again, as Levi has got hypercharge. OP going in with the shielding, but gets taken care of very, very swiftly. And now a response of Zeta's zone going in with there with a hypercharge Buster. And now Lily is lurking, going to find Yoshi surely here. And Yoshi comes out with 450 HP, low on that side of things, and depending upon the body blocking of his teammates. Look at the gems now, just 2 more for Zeta, and they'll be on countdown.
Sitetampo with a cheeky little gadget, Ape going to be rolling in. Not enough though. Sizuku there to recover for his teammates, and Levi will pop one more shield to grab this countdown.
Oh, that's a nice time there from Levi to be able to utilize that montage. But SK Gaming cannot get gems from them. They've got to go, go, go. OP uses one Stu, he's got another one in the back pocket. Stuka's going to fall down, but the gems are still safe and sound. For now, for Zeta, they should be able to hold on. SK Gaming have run out of time. And the set goes to Zeta. And we're all tied up. Did you see that?
Yeah. Sorry, folks. Been at this for a while, but even I'm speechless with this crowd. Capacity crowd here in DreamHack Dallas. This is more of the Zeta division that we're used to seeing. It looked bad in that game number 1. I mean, left-hand side was so fierce. An interesting composition as well. They used Finks on the lane. We're used to seeing him be a point guard right down the middle of the map. Instead, it's Levi. 20 gems in that pocket throughout. He had to be the aggressor, the defender. This man did it all.
And you've got to ask yourself the question, because of that very reason, going back to the draft, when SK Gaming first picked Chester, they could have first picked Buster. And it was definitely a bold decision on their part, but one that I do not feel paid off. Can I just say as well, I want to see more cards in the crowd. I mean, that was took me off guard. It was absolutely brilliant. But seeing some of the humor and some of the OGs in the crowd has been fantastic this weekend.
Y'all are rock stars, all y'all attending here at DreamHack Dallas. Big time crowd on this Saturday, showing out for SK Gaming versus Zeta Division, 2 #1 seeds, 2 monthly finals apiece so far this year, and now entering a crucial set number 3. This isn't win or go home per se, Arc, but this certainly means more. It's a guarantee for another day, a top 4, where LCQ spots are on the line, World Final spots are on the line, regional pride on the line. Both these teams showing a great fight for that.
Yeah, keeping seed is so important in this competition. Looking ahead of things, if Humble come out with a win later on here today, then that's going to matter. If you win this matchup, you're going to probably be able to avoid the world champions, and I think that's probably a good spot to find yourselves in. Then up to Kaboom Canyon next, then for Heist. A much closer set in Gem Grab, as SK Gaming had a very good start, which slowly is now diminishing. But I think it came down to draft, in my opinion. We saw Zeta have not necessarily the best of drafts in Bounty, but one that was more of a comfort idea. Going into Heist now, this is going to be a much better place for me, I feel. Zeta like to play the long game quite a lot, and they've got a lot of great sharp shooters. So in terms of SK's strategy coming in, they need to make sure that these bans are on point.
Some of those unique picks as well. Bonnie has certainly risen in the ranks. A very fun one to play here, and also, according to the balance changes, has now become much more viable. Amber certainly in the mix. Melody, an old-timey one that's aggressive, and I know East Asia loves to cater towards. It's going to be in the ban stage, though. No Lily, no Finks, no Eve. Very unique bans on that left-hand side.
Well, the Eve ban's not too crazy because it is basically the highest win rate for SK Gaming here. Colette coming in. Love that pick from them. But Angelo's still not banned out here. And that's definitely a Zeta Division pick for sure. So interesting that they didn't want to go for that, despite banning the Eve, which is primarily what you'd like to see. But always good to see a Chuck ban. Lily ban here, I think is absolutely necessary here as well. But that Melody being banned up by Zeta is an interesting one. It's certainly one that they would like to have picked themselves. So definitely was... With the coin toss, I imagine on their side, kind of considering to opt against it. Carl, going to be open here as well. First pick from Zeta. Love to see that particular brawler. The amount of aggression, the hypercharge, of course, the hot coals on the safe, it can shred through that stuff.
Another one I'm looking out for here is going to be Angelo, going to be a direct matchup into Colette, and especially now with the change to Heist. we're not necessarily always prioritizing just burst damage on that high safe, right? Angelo's somebody that can bring that control, and it used to be, I was a little hesitant, because if you're just playing to win the map, well, there's still a comeback mechanic. Supers like Colette, like Crow, not in our current meta right now. So I don't actually mind these more control-based brawlers, and Amber kind of a hybrid of both of those.
I was thinking there could have been a Bonnie there for Zeta. We saw it yesterday, and it did kind of work out pretty well. It's still going to be available, I imagine, for this. But oh, actually, SK going to pick it up first. Did not see that one coming. That's definitely a Zeta pick to have, and Angelo's will.
Yeah.
SK kind of taking the playbook away from Zeta here, I feel, somewhat. The Amber's not a bad shout from Zeta, but I was absolutely expecting the Bonnie and the Angelo to be on the side of Zeta.
Well, I think Colette scares them off of the Bonnie, so in return, Zeta Division go away from it. Colette, obviously pretty good into those beefier brawlers, right? So just cuts through that HP of Bonnie when with Clyde. And when it's in the Leon-esque form, it's a little trickier. Here comes an East Asia special, though, folks. It's going to be Charlie. This one's always an interesting one, and I'm still hesitant on it because the win rate just hasn't come through. In terms of logic, on paper, Spiderlings are great into all three of these single-shot brawlers. Cocoon never hurt, but it just hasn't had the performance we've been looking for, but maybe Zeta Division are the key to unlocking it.
They're just trying to shut down Bonnie, leave the Charlie on defense the entire time. The Cocoon going to be great into, into the Colette, going to be great also then into the Bonnie. But I agree with you. We casted the last monthly final in this region, and we saw it so much. And as soon as that monthly final was over, no other region was doing so. But it was primarily successful, mostly in Heist. So I don't necessarily mind it, but it is a heavy risk, no doubt about it.
Set number 3 underway. 2 #1 seeds and some of the best on the planet going at it here on our Saturday morning. Joker, instant elimination, dive in from Ope. It's a team wipe early for SK Gaming.
A little tippy tap on the safe there from Yoshi. And again, with Bonnie's rework now, OP able to go straight back into cannon form and hold down Fort. Popping in gadgets, yet again getting some good hits down Sitetampo as well, and almost narrowly escaping there. Levi is now the flying hook from Sitetampo goes in. Yoshi gonna have to do some work here on defense. It gets a lovely tap, a very important one at that, because that is where Carl really wants to sit.
All things considered, they only give up 13% on that high save. Could have been much worse for them. SK Gaming now, once again contesting for the mid. Ooh, Joker with perfect precision. Nicely done down the left-hand sideline. Now Joker exploding. Super available, connects for 10, and they'll pierce through that first set of heist damage.
Very important time to get through that stack on the safe, as now they can regroup and continue the assault. It's quite concerning for me that Zeta have not got a single scratch on the safe. And really that playmaker is going to be Sitetampo now. There's Sizuku coming in, the hypercharge as well. Missing some of his shots quite crucially, so gets the one that he needs to land the Cocoon. The Yoshi then pulls him back out immediately, so there's a hypercharge of the safe. 44% is all that is left on the Zeta Division side.
Oh, they're going to have to pop off here too. Several layers of this onion to get through on the high safe. Levy, left hand in, dueling with Colette, lands the easy tags, but still struggling. Now Sitetampo off to the races down on the bottom side of the map, looking to get past that 75% and does. Job first done, but still a long way to go.
Yeah, it's so far behind in that regard, and SK Gaming has been so consistent. But look at that from Sizuku. A nice Cocoon allows him to spend all his time on the safe, and the Spiderlings going in there as well. It's going to make it a lot harder for Yoshi to be able to get his job done. Finally finds the tap, and Sugar flies in to secure it regardless for SK Gaming, who gets this game on the board.
I think Charlie's going to have to play pretty darn perfect to make this work. Look, it's just a brawler that I don't believe is high enough on the tier list. I love it on paper. It's something that I feel like you, me, all of us have brought up the last couple months. Other regions just didn't believe in this brawler. East Asia really the only one, and Zeta Division, oddly enough, were a team that I feel like never actually used it on their run to monthly finals win last time. It makes sense. I love the extra spawners, but in terms of high safe damage, it's not crazy unless you get down the sidelines. It's just so much range you have to outgun.
Speaking of the draft, it makes sense, like you say, but it's just not bringing enough bargaining power for Zeta Division here, as SK Gaming is just able to pack the punch. Sitetampo goes in, and that shot from Yoshi not going to be enough to seal his demise, so OP now just making up some lost time, but that was a swift takedown regardless. Spiderling's going to buy a little bit more for Zeta, but Joker takes care of business, and now healing up in the mid. Yoshi got super as well, certainly going to be a welcome gift. That poison going to trickle down on the side of Zeta if they need it. Oh, one pierce there as well. Sitetampo's now low HP, and already a first stack of that safe is down on the side of Zeta's safe.
This is trouble for Zeta Division. Now dropping some Spiderlings on the right-hand side. Sitetampo playing Carl into all these long-range brawlers, and without a lot of walls to bounce up, no close quarters combat makes it much more difficult. Now he's going to be taking off, going right down to the other side. 1150, they're just going to dip. This is an interesting choice, but if SK Gaming can match in terms of damage, I mean, they're already ahead. There goes Colette, down below 30% now. They're just continuing to pummel away.
And Zeta is now down to the final stage. This might not be a base race that Zeta can win, but Sitetampo's got to stay there. OP's choosing to leave him as well. And I think it's the right call because SK Gaming are tapping 3% is all there is left, and this set will be done. OP misses the shot. Now he fires it 1%, and this should be okay. SK get it done. They get the set 2-1 now in their favor.
Most daunting set of the day, I would say, for Zeta Division. It never felt great in the draft for me. And by all means, these guys are the pros, but I just feel like there are a lot of holes to poke in that. And even though it was 3 just single-shot brawlers on that left-hand side, I feel like the Colette pick first kind of locked out Zeta Division because that was a Bonnie frequent pick for them in practice this week. So maybe throw them off their game a little bit. I mean, 2 solid brawlers, Amber and Carl. I just don't know if this is the best spot for them. And then again, the Charlie to end things off, it isn't cutting it for me.
It made some sense in terms of like the counter, but it just wasn't good enough. And like I said, we were watching that monthly final where it was used so heavily in East Asia and it just wasn't warranted in every other region. And I think it's time to let the Charlie sit. It's not seeming to work. And for SK Gaming, what an important step that was. They can continue to keep this pressure on. And for Yoshi as well, I've got to give a huge shout out to him because it's not an easy brawler to make work in Heist. Certainly not into what they were playing with. So to have that Angelo really tap in the way that he did, I think having that as a valuable defense went a long, long way. Heist is done. Triple dribble for Brawl Ball is up next. Certainly, Brawl Ball is a mode that springs to mind as one that favors SK quite heavily. But, I mean, for Zeta, they have got tricks up their sleeve. We've seen this, but now the Shade thing is kind of getting a bit old, in my opinion. It is so obvious to see that I think that SK, if they don't ban it, are going to have a strategy against it no matter what.
Both of these teams are going to be well equipped for it. It's something they practiced a lot leading up into this. Obviously, Zeta Division kind of known for it, for pioneering it a little more recently. So I do think brawlers like Hank, Jackie, Shade, all going to be kind of in the rotation somewhat for either picks or bans. They're all kind of associated with each other. So curious to see if those tanks or aggressive brawlers come through. Chester also a frequent one. Of course, we have to keep our eye out for Finks. It is Brawl Ball, but I just feel like he's such a valued brawler by our pros right now that he could be at the top of leaderboards.
We saw in the BBL as well that Willow was played a lot by SK, and that's one of the brawlers that's really high up in the win rates for Zeta Division at 88%. For SK Gaming, Frank is a common pick at 80% as well, so looking for that. And for them themselves, their most played brawler in scrims was Shade. So they saw Zeta and they were like, okay, we see why that works so well. I'm assuming it's going to be banned from both sides as they both clearly want to play it. I want to see a Kenji ban, I want to see a Lumi ban. They are, of course, the common culprits, but I wouldn't be opposed to a Chester ban here. I think that the tanks can come out to play for sure, and to be banning out B and others for counter purposes can go a long way. Buster as well, certainly one on SK Gaming's mind here, but as the bans come in, they are the heavy hitters to consider.
Lots of throwers can come into play here too. You mentioned Willow, a shocking one that's shown up quite a bit. I'm going to keep my eye out for Dynamite. Not going to call it too early by any means, but if you want a thrower, real possibility. Of course, with the bans coming through, no throwers being banned, so probably not at the top of the list unless they see something super that they really want to pull out. So Juju, Willow at the top of mind for me here if they want to go thrower. No Hank. Jae Young getting the surprise ban, I would say. It feels like EMEA have used him more that I've seen in practices recently, so that might be more a selective ban.
Certainly for Brawl Ball, I feel like it's his best mode, so I'm kind of expecting it to be seen a fair amount. Like I say, in EMEA, certainly been utilized a lot, so fair play on Zeta to be able to spot that one in their data. Lou going to come in. Certainly not the first brawler that springs to mind on this kind of map and mode, to be completely honest. It is saying, well, we are ready to counter your tank, but B is still available for that same reason as well. So keeping the walls is where Lou's going to thrive, but if SK Gaming wants to go with some wall break options and maybe even have a stew with a bit of wall break potential too, then how much is that Lou going to be able to do?
I mean, they could literally pick B right here, and not only is it a good brawler to counter out tanks, but it's also a good matchup into Lou. So I do think question marks on that first overall pick. Again, Lou not a bad brawler, but with Hank out of the way, that's going to be one of the more traditional counters. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I mean, I like B matchup. Now they get anti-tank as well. B's just a great brawler, one of the higher picked ones for a reason this weekend.
It just feels like Zeta might not be on point with their draft, but let's hope that they are cooking up something hot that I'm not seeing through. And then we go to a final set. I'm biased. I am. And there's the shade. Yeah, it's one of those things that was not banned out by either team. And as we were saying, you know, it's a high top pick for SK Gaming. They play it the most in scrims. It's got a 68% win rate for them. So certainly it's going to be taking a lot to show Zeta how it's done. But I like the pick.
Jackie's certainly on the table here for Zeta Division, I think. It's a traditional way to go against the Shade here. The problem is if they draft it early, now SK Gaming have a chance to respond. So this is a tricky spot, I would say, for Zeta Division. That's a good 2-3 turn there for SK Gaming. Do they go with their choice of Flare for aggression? Do they build some health points up? It is going to be that Jackie. Yeah, I just feel like it's a natural counter. When you see Shade, folks, you got to think Jackie. It's just one of the better ways to deal with it.
Jackie didn't have the best of games yesterday, though, for North America. But I still feel like the brawler has got a lot of potential. No heals, though, currently for Zeta. And that's kind of where I'm thinking next, or potentially something of a tankier option as well. Let's see how they want to fare this through. But I feel that Jackie's weakness is like being able to break through some of that cover, and that's an SK Gaming final pick to decide as to whether they want to go for it. Ollie going to be coming through for Zeta Division as well. It's actually got quite a low win rate for them in scrims, but nonetheless, I feel the brawler has got so much weight to be able to throw behind this situation. But again, little healing on the side of Zeta. For SK Gaming now, a chance to see through this, and they got the B, but they want to keep the walls is kind of where I'm seeing this go.
I wonder if they go for a flashy little primo here on the top of mine just to kind of dive in, have a goal score. Obviously, they got Shade for that aggression. I think Thrower would be a toughie. Ooh, Frank could be a spicy one, too. Oh, instead, we're just going to bring the big, bad shotgun. Goodness gracious. What a direct answer into both Ollie and Jackie. I just never think of Shelly because it's just, you know, not an S-tier brawler by any means. It's the first brawler we all unlock in the game, but SK Gaming unafraid, shooting fearless here. I think it might be a pretty wise choice.
The big barrel of boom is going to be wielded by OPE, and in my opinion, he is the best Shelly player in the world, which sounds like a weird thing to say. I know it, I get it. It's the first brawler that you get in the game, and one that we rarely see in Brawl Esports, aside from 2023, that little period that we had there, for good reason. But OPE is absolutely insane with Shelly, and I just really hope that Zeta are prepared for this, because I think they're going to struggle.
Expect action. Lots of aggressive brawlers here. Yoshi already with a big sting available as Levi just clings to that L-shaped wall. Sitetampo already on the back heels and Ollie rotating, trying to find the perfect matchup. Everybody making adjustments. Nice jukes. Joker, super available. Activates it now, piercing through the wall. Gadget goes through. Levi dumps the ball off on the right-hand side. SK still with an opportunity to get one through.
Great round old hive there as well from Yoshi, and great taps to follow things up. A nice slow connection, and there's the splash that we were hoping to see from OPE. Sizuku there surviving there on a slither. The amplified shot from Yoshi still available here, but going to miss one, healing up as well, and goes down to Sizuku. Nicely done there from Zeta, a good defense, but so much cover now has been blown open, and as time goes on, this game is not going to favor Zeta, not by a long shot.
SK Gaming unwavering on offense so far. Zeta Division have to claw their way out of their spawn side. They have yet to show signs of the other end of the map. Jackie just with no range. Ollie has to have that super to be a looming threat, and Lou, such a big ask of him to be perfect here. There's the buck blast going through. Joker piercing through the walls. The pull goes through. The natural counter. Jackie, a great answer into that Shade.
Well, Zeta are holding on somewhat for dear life as we approach the 1 minute mark left, but one thing I've got to say is, like, in overtime, they're not going to have a great time of anything at all. They've got to push now. Levi with and he allows it, throwing the needle, a lovely bounce, and they get it for Zeta. Lovely stuff, but there is still time for a response, and if SK can get it in overtime, this is not going to go well for Zeta.
Unbelievable click of the button there. It was looking so bleak for Zeta Division. Now all of a sudden a little confidence exuding out of him. Pocketing this ball top right-hand side though. Goes with the ice rink down the other end. He has to hit these shots on Joker. Luckily for him, Joker's gonna have to take the time to heal. Jackie, respawn, sprinting right at the enemy side. Just has to go straight towards these walls because otherwise not a chance.
Good taps from Joker going in there on Sizuku. Rail Hive coming around again, but just shy there of Levi, who's going to get the ball. 20 seconds, SK have got to push this methodically slow. There's the hypnosis as well, so Yoshi's out of play, but the ball passed through to Joker, surely he'll just straight in from OPE, and now the ball is all tied up in terms of the goal with 10 seconds now. The boxes go down. Zeta have got to push for this really early.
This is going to be exactly what they do. Zeta Division know they don't have the range, so they attack early. Levi, hypercharge though, a dive in from Sizuku. They're looking for the pass forward, and Zeta punches through the net. What clutch mechanics out of the Wizards.
They had one shot realistically there, because if that wasn't a goal, it was certainly going to be one for SK. Zeta get the lead in this set of a comp that I'm still not convinced by. And SK should feel confident for that reason, because I think that they look stronger for me. But they've got to get this wrapped up fast enough. They cannot allow this to linger out because, well, they can if they want to play defensively, but it's still a bit risky to do so against a team like Zeta. And already a very promising start, as already only one member of Zeta still remains. Hypnosis still going to connect. Structure should be able to walk this through. And that is a very early goal in the first opening 25 seconds.
SK Gaming not going to be playing with their food any longer. An instant tap there, goal in sub 30 seconds, and once again, Zeta Division going to be pushed back. A little bit of luck, obviously, with the incredible bounce shot there to push them into overtime. Perfectly timed aggression, but Joker, same can be said for him. Kicking off to the right hand, and Sitetampo so low, though, they really can't make a move for this ball. It's left to Sizuku, who's just going to throw it away. A hop, now he has his super available. It's still not enough, though. Joker moving towards the top of the map, buying time. Thankfully, Zeta were able to respawn.
Certainly felt that could have been a goal there for SK Gaming, but playing it slow again, not the worst idea in the world with the comp that they are running. Tempo low, Joker knows it going in, but the freeze is going to force him back out there as Levi then forces him back in and gets the takedown as well. Yoshi with the amplified shot, quite wide there on Sizuku for me, but now the slow going to help things out there for sure. Oh, great timing there on Sitetampo, but now Jackie comes in for Levi and gets behind OPE. A great timing of the super there, seals the deal.
Zeta Division have to take advantage. They've been cornered the entire time. It's just been a game of hot potato on defense. And Sitetampo, once again, gonna be in a 2v1 scenario. Ope dishing out damage. Levi moving up the middle of the map. A pull goes through. Ope goes down. 3v2 situation. Hypercharge available for Sitetampo, but Yoshi taking advantage of the matchup.
Yeah, crucial tap for that reason as well. He's going to be staying eyes on Sitetampo, but he's now pushed himself forward. That hypercharge is going in and it's going now. It's going to freeze out OPE as well. The ball from Yoshi. Hypnosis there from Sizuku, but it's going to be him all alone versus two. Hypercharge from OPE. It's going to be able to get the ball clear for now. But that was a valiant attempt from Zeta, but no ball. 30 seconds on the clock, and Zeta needed a goal.
SK with complete control of the ball and the middle of the map. Supers available. Yoshi just gonna pop a rattled hive for safety here. Zeta Division have to get aggressive.
Connection there from Yoshi slows down Sitetampo, and it's OP that comes in with the stealing of it. And 10 seconds now as we approach things. It's not gonna be any time at all for Zeta. That ball is firmly in the pocket. There's not even enough time to get from one side of the map. There is a hypercharge though for Levi, and even he knows that that's not enough to get there to steal it. And now that means that SK move on to match point.
Front row loving it. SK banners flying here today. A lot of support for EMEA's #1 seed. They've made some incredible plays. They've gotten us to a set 4, but can Zeta Division deliver when it matters most? Win and off to day 3. SK Gaming just one away from pushing Europe to another.
Already a tough start. Zeta going on the aggressive, but Sitetampo too low. A good slow from Yoshi, but he falls very, very quickly. It's now going to be OPE in the 1v3 to defend. And his teammates respawning and a good time for it. That was a very aggressive start from Zeta, and they need that to be able to survive this series.
Love Zeta Division shooting fearless right there. Unafraid to lose. Let's just get aggressive. Let's change something up. It's not working. And now Levi off to the races. Sitetampo with ball. No! Ball's just short. There's too low of HP as well. They have to make this perfect. No! Blunder out of the Wizards. No way! Their mechanics best on the planet, but they faltered there.
Unbelievable from SK Gaming to be able to survive that one out, because that should have been a goal, in my opinion. Ball to the left, covered there by Sitetampo as well, who has to do a big break from OPE. I feel like he might have wanted to get a bit more for his time. Jump there from Sizuku, not going to be doing too much. These taps from Yoshi really got to land to survive this, because Zeta mean business.
It was a perfect start. They got the eliminations, they had control, they had a goal, they let it go, and now these walls are slowly falling down. And it's just gonna get tougher and tougher. Suzuku without a super, not gonna be able to match. Joker can just shoot through these walls, and now Suzuku just pinned. It's gonna be a 3v2. Once again, back on the defensive. Ope popping that hypercharge, gotta be close to a super, there it is, but he's going skating. Sitetampo shuts him down, response, and that ball's still pocketed on top left-hand side.
Sugar go on the aggressive, will find Sitetampo as well. If Yoshi gets involved here, it could lead to a goal, but no, with Levi coming back in off the spawn, has that hypercharge. If they get some of this wall down, OPE potentially going to the left-hand side to do just that. Now the hypercharge from Levi, keeping SK Gaming back. There's a nice jump there from Sizuku, who's going to be going for the ball now, and it's a bit wide open. Communication from SK was there, though, and they should be able to shut this down.
All of them staying alive. Slither of wall will keep Joker up. Oh, and a nice tap out of Yoshi. Still 0-0. Sub 30 seconds to go in Zeta Division, clinging for space. If this gets to overtime, Arc, you got a B, long-range gadget from Shelly, and on the other end you have Jackie. What are you supposed to do?
10 seconds for Zeta. A tough situation as two men is all around the ball. Levi going to be pushing for this now, but does he have the gadget to go? Trying to get things whittled down. There's a big smash there from OPE. Again, no goal on either side. It's going to be neck and neck going into overtime.
Levi with an opportunity, super shot available, gonna be trying to recharge that HP, goes for gold, not even close. Stopped at the mark by Ope at the goalkeeper. Yoshi, tax, 200 HP will keep him up. It's still ball control for Zeta Division.
OP's got the hypercharge as well. We know that additional speed can do, but Yoshi has got to tap these shots now. SK advancing. What a huge smash there with the hypercharge from OPE. And Joker has the speed, the slow from Yoshi, the taps into Levi. But still, Zeta stays standing with 30 seconds into overtime. Hypnosis there from Sizuku. Gets Yoshi taken care of. And this is a wide open chance for Zeta. The pass to Sitetampo, but the knockback from OPE. Joker intercepts. The ball is wide. Yoshi's the last remaining hope for SK Gaming. And it's not enough in this set. Zeta come back. They survive it out, but it's still not done yet.
Let's go the distance, Brawl Nation. Wouldn't expect anything less than 2 #1 seeds across the world. I'll be honest, draft diff, right? But these guys are just unbelievable. We saw the trick shot early on. Levi, despite in a brutal matchup against the Shelly, still a top frag for his team. Oh, by the way, Joker had 20.
Yeah, I saw that. I did spot it. And that makes you think, doesn't it, that after all that, what a brawler pick that Zeta love to champion on this very map, to get 20 takedowns that just still come short. You've got to reset that mental going into a 5th and final set. And SK for me are still the favorites, but it's about how they come in now mentally to this one, because that should have been their set. Like I said, for me, a bit of an outdraft. I'm surprised that the Lu was as effective as it was on the side of Zeta, to be completely honest. But again, comfort picks get it done. 80% of a win rate for them in that regard. And it proved its worth. To them come back under that kind of scrutiny is quite incredible.
Well, Joker's going to rise the ranks of best shed players on the planet. We had Sitetampo on the other end. We saw some excellent work out of Chinese mainland. Now we head into one more set. There were some blunders along with this too, so I think the fact that Zeta Division somehow erased that from their memories, just keep grinding. I don't think there's a lot of teams on the planet that we could say SK Gaming has some hard matchups, some hard counters, some very favorable picks on paper, and yet the gameplay out of these guys, they're somehow always still in it. And I think a big game changer too, the emotion, the vibes. At Worlds, you kind of see it a little bit, but this just means a ton to East Asia. EMEA are a region of old. It's historic. We've got plenty of world champions. Sitetampo's hungry, though. He left Crazy Raccoon. Let that sink in, folks. He left Crazy Raccoon for 2 players who have yet to make it past an LCQ, trying to make a reputation for himself, his team, and his region. And he's showing up in a big way.
I would even argue that for me, for Zeta, it means the most out of any region here, because they're so patriotic. For them to represent their country and to be able to bring something home in that regard for the World Finals, or slot at LCQ, for them, we've seen already in the past that coming second, coming third, it's not an option for a team like Zeta. It's only first on their horizons. Anything less than that is a fail in their opinion. Despite it not looking like it from our perspective, it is from theirs, and that's the one that matters. So going in now to a 5th and final set. This is where it all comes down to. Open business for Hot Zone. And a chance to be done for the day for one of these two teams, but most importantly, get to the next round of the competition, keep their seed in that regard. No one wants to go to an elimination match up next.
Zeta Division burdened with carrying an entire region. SK Gaming first overall selection on open business. Going to be the Lu. Now this is an interesting one to grab first. B out of the equation, Stu no longer there. I think Lu is a safe one, not only for the mode, but Hank a very popular selection. This is a very safe one to deal with general tanks, but also especially him.
Double Finks ban as well. I think that's probably pretty wise, as we've seen such high play rates for that very brawler. The question between tanks and long range for sure now, going to be a question mark for Zeta, as that Lu going to be looming in over the situation. I still don't mind Bo in that regard, because the Lu's going to be taking up a lot of area control. For Zeta, it wouldn't be the worst idea to have something of that kind of thing for themselves. But Chester, they're going to have that kind of insurance policy with the B ban. It makes a lot of sense. Primarily the best 2 tank counters, in my opinion, to have kind of favoring a little bit more towards the Chester than the Lu here, but in this kind of objective, it makes a lot of sense for SK Gaming.
Most frequent tanks we see on this map, Hank, Draco, and Frank. And obviously Draco surprising you and I, at least in the pre-show, with how frequently he has been picked. Always been a solid brawler, but not to that level. There comes the Hank, so Lu, a good answer. And the crowd love it. They love the Milkman. Good stuff, crowd. Love that.
I love the fact that we've just got that audience participation now when it comes to the balancings, and I'm sure Adrian is as well. Third and final pick still to come for Zeta, as SK Gaming now will take the mantle. The second pick coming in pretty swiftly. Again, I quite like the idea of the Frank myself. I think that would work relatively well into the Hank as well, just to keep that pressure on, but let's see what they're thinking with Draco. Yeah, don't mind it. It's going to be either one of those two for sure. But the heals is where, for me, Draco thrives, and we haven't really seen too much of that. We were seeing Barry a little bit this past weekend, and that's where I would think that SK would be heading with this, just to ensure that Draco's survivability is there. Without that, it's a bit troublesome, especially against the Hank. And with that much HP, you need to stay standing on that zone. If you lose positioning power against the Hank, yeah, it was open. Unbelievable stuff.
How'd we miss it?
Yeah, that is going to be crucial for SK Gaming, and maybe Zeta might be a bit worried now.
Yeah, this is tough. A couple options come to mind. I think Pam's Scrapsucker gadget would actually be huge here into the Kenji in particular. I know that's bold, maybe not as necessarily a Zeta Division choice, but something we've learned through practices all throughout this week. Griff was on the top of mind as well earlier, but now that Kenji comes through, they're going to need all the damage in the world. They need a quick burst to deal with something like a Kenji, deal with something like a Draco. It's going to be Cordelius. Wow. Zeta Division selecting a brawler that by no means is bad, but certainly not a regular here. Nerf Hank. What's this? No. Yeah, I like that one better. The I love Hank.
Hey, buddy. Fred LC's in the building, and he'll come find you. Trust me. I'm worried. I'm going to bring it back down to business. I'm worried for Zeta. I don't know whether the Cordelius was part of their plan, part of their playbook. It feels more reactive than it does part of their strategy coming into this one. And it just kind of feels like the Kenji may have been a bit of a misstep, a bit of a mistake, something which was overlooked in that regard. They're looking to try to take Kenji away from the situation, but it does worry me a little bit for Zeta here. It's not a common brawler to see in Hot Zone these days.
Battle of Regions, 2 #1 seeds, tackling a set #5, Joker on the top left-hand side, and a goat in his own right, Sitetampo. Playing the Cordelius here, they've tasked him with playing one of the more difficult matchups that we have. Not an easy brawler to execute with, has a super available, but as SK Gaming taking over, especially with the Lu freeze.
Decent start for SK Gaming now. Levi frozen out there. It'll be easy pickings there for Joker. Leaving Sizuku very susceptible here. And OP doesn't even get to get involved. Got plenty of time to heal up as well and let everyone else do their thing. As now the respawn's coming in for Zeta. SK, full control. So much utility as well in that regard. And now approaching 50%. Zeta are so far behind.
SK surviving there as well. Tried to make a big play out of Cordelius, just not enough. That's a good roll of the dice, though. Now they can drop the wall on that right-hand side. Suzuku sprinting down the sideline. Joker looking to meet him. Now an ice rink on the ground as well. It just makes it too tough to stand on it. You start skating with enemy brawlers there. Oh, and there's that hypercharge. Joker popping off with the big-time brawler.
Nice there from Joker yet again. And now as we approach 20%, Zeta are so far behind. They've lost all control. There's a supercharge there. A hypercharge for Yoshi going to connect on both Levi and Sitetampo as well. Suzuku going straight into the eye of the storm. Against 2 members of SK Gaming. What can he realistically do? It's going to be match point for SK Gaming.
Another opportunity here for EMEA's #1. Felt like a pretty clean game. I mean, not a lot of positives, I would say, on the Zeta Division front. That was over in the blink of an eye. It's a difficult task, and once again, similar to what we saw in set #4, feels like a great draft out of SK Gaming, but will mechanics on the field prevail? Zeta Division are going to have to answer the call.
It looks a little bit defeated, in my opinion. Can they find something within themselves now to bring this back? Sitetampo staying in position on the right-hand side. Nice connection there from Yoshi. Lovely stuff. Pinpoint precision. Gets the freeze. Ensures the takedown. And keeps these spawns cycling in for Zeta. Meanwhile, SK Gaming staying on their feet, staying on the zone. 20% now and climbing. And Zeta's not looking much different from the last round, in my opinion.
Still have found real no way to enter the middle. There's a takedown, a much needed one. Sitetampo, it's going to be a close call, not enough. Joker slices through him. Levi still remaining in the middle, though, building up some much crucial percentage points on that hot zone.
Well, OPE still on the zone against 3 members. Survived on for a pretty decent amount of time for me, but now we're all tied up. Zeta have got control, and the hypercharge for Sitetampo as well can choose who to eradicate. From Yoshi there, some area denial will slow the pace slightly, and that's the concern, but you see there, just going straight onto the zone, not too worried about it as everyone is down now. Sitetampo gets the aggression coming in for Zeta. 60% now as they're fighting back.
These boys can ball. No doubt about it. Sizuku having a much better game. Sitetampo landing the mark, but Joker playing a very powerful brawler, and now they're back in the mix. Sitetampo all alone on the left-hand side as SK Gaming have a full roster of 3 stacking the mid.
Joker low, and Sitetampo then forces OP into the realm. Force behind that wall, but it's SK Gaming that are still staying firm. Hank coming in now on the right-hand side for Sizuku now, trying to find something, but not able to find the range. He's got to close the gap now. SK Gaming looking better as they approach now, with only 20% left on the zone.
They've got to force Ope out. He's barely alive. Sizuku brings him down, but the 1 HP marker keeps him up. Kenshi diving in on the action, grabs the kill. It's going to be a 1v1 duel. Sizuku versus Joker up in the air again. Looking to slice and dice. They bring him down. They have a hypercharge available. Missed mark out of Sitetampo. Ope cycling in. It's back and forth the whole way. The entire Zeta Division roster skating, but they stay alive. Double match point.
It all comes down to 1 game of Hot Zone. For East Asia, for EMEA, this game means everything to stay in this upper stage of the bracket.
Here we go. Nice little 8 to 10% coming in for the red roster early. Sizuku once again battling Joker.
Dirty!
Unbelievable. And he goes down, but most importantly, gets his team easy access to the hot zone. They're playing this objective so well.
Great start for SK. Objectively speaking, though, pretty balanced for the most part. As now Sitetampo really is starting to cook on a pick that we are a little bit dubious of. Now Yoshi with a beautiful position there of that super. Sizuku's frozen out there, nowhere that he can go, just sitting duck from that top left-hand side. SK Gaming now creep towards 50%.
Things getting scary here as well. Well past that 50% marker, a gadget keeps Ope up, and finally, Zeta Division, a slight moment to breathe, but Joker right back in the action. Sitetampo has that hypercharged Super 2, needs to land the mark. It's a must. They're gonna demand a lot out of their great king.
Sizuku now keeping OP and Joker suppressed, but Joker has the hypercharge, and when he gets that super, you know it's going to be devastating. 60% now, a 10% lead for SK Gaming. Sitetampo going to be coming on the left-hand side now, has the super to hand. He's got to take OP away from this zone, and it does so successfully, but Yoshi still standing. SK Gaming going the aggressive. 80% now and closing. Zeta starting to fall behind a little bit here.
This is going to be tough. 85% in climbing. The blue side looking stacked in the mid. That's a crucial hypercharge, but Ope stays up. Oh! A big time takedown. SK Gaming, they just have to punch through. 6% to go. Can Zeta Division play perfect?
Imagine, Yoshi has the hypercharge. You got Joker going on the aggressive, finds a beautiful connection there, but frozen out, but on the zone. 97 for SK Gaming, 99, and SK Gaming get it done! EMEA's finest, put East Asia in the danger zone.
Incredible execution overall. Fist flying and Dallas on their feet. And SK Gaming will extend their march to global domination out east. And will tackle tomorrow with an undefeated record here at our Brawl Cup.
Unbelievable. Came down to the wire, and it genuinely could have gone either way. What a way for SK Gaming to start their day and to finish it, because they're done. They have not got to worry about anything more until tomorrow. That's going to be a beautiful night's sleep, isn't it?
Always feels a little bit better when you squeeze through with the win. It was close, though, and all things considered, Zeta Division, I feel like didn't have the drafts that they were looking for, but would love to hear what SK Gaming have to say about things. Let's send it over to our main man, Barney.